$4 billion. That's a lot of money. After months of negotiations, on October 30th, 2012, Disney acquired Lucasfilm. It is now October 2023, and one thing is clear. Disney never came up with a clear plan and never committed to any clear idea. In the Disney era, Star Wars has seen great success and great failure, but the failures are worse than I originally thought. Disney has actually completed very few projects from start to finish in its original vision. As far as I can tell, The Last Jedi is the only movie that was made from start to finish with no major issues. Now, this video will focus more on the movies than the Disney Plus television shows. The shows are actually being handled fairly well. Dave Filoni seems to have a good grasp on the shows. You don't have to agree with Filoni's vision for Star Wars, but at least he has one. Well, that's the intro for this video, so let's get to it. First up, Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Michael Arndt of Toy Story 3 and Little Miss Sunshine was originally writing The Force Awakens, but was replaced and the movie was rewritten by J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan. Some of the details in Arndt's script included Luke Skywalker playing a bigger role, the search for Darth Vader's remains, and searching an underwater wreckage of the second Death Star for a Jedi artifact. He also had R2-D2 and C-3PO show up together. Most notably, the story would have been more generational, focusing on the children of Luke, Han, and Leia. So you can see the difference in what Arndt had in mind versus what we actually got. And then we have Rogue One, directed by Gareth Edwards of Godzilla 2014 and Monsters, rewritten and reshot by Tony Gilroy. So Gareth Edwards actually got to see this one all the way through. Well, mostly. It's known that this movie had extensive reshoots. The internet rumor is that Tony Gilroy took over the reshoots. Neither Gilroy nor Edwards will give a straight answer. From Gilroy, we get the more authority that you hear people talk about online about what happened on that movie, the less they know. That's all that needs to be said. That's a quote from The Hollywood Reporter. This one is interesting because if you watch the trailers and the movie, you can clearly see the extensive reshoots in the third act. Overall, I like this movie a lot actually. As with most action movies, the romance plot was very weak. I remember loving K2SO, and Rogue One also features the best Darth Vader action scene in a movie. And next up is the cancelled Boba Fett movie from Josh Trank. Josh Trank's Boba Fett movie was at first delayed and then cancelled during the whole messy Fantastic Four debacle of 2015. But you gotta remember, at the time, Trank had major success with the low-budget Chronicle. I'll take a moment to recommend that movie, it was very good. And this was before everyone knew exactly how trash 2015's Fantastic Four was going to be. Actually, before he chose Fantastic Four, Trank was in consideration for Venom, The Red Star, and The Shadow of Colossus. Out of these, I would have liked to see Trank's Colossus the most. But Trank made the decision to skip 2015's Disney Star Wars celebration, citing sickness. Shortly after, Trank left the project due to the infamous creative differences. However, he has recently stated that he left Star Wars out of fear of being fired. So that brings us to Solo, a Star Wars story. Originally directed by Lord and Miller, but was finished by Ron Howard. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are masters of their craft. but might have simply been the wrong choice for this movie. I remember people at Disney saying this script was special. Like, they thought they had actual magic with this script, which was an odd choice to hire comedy directors known for going off script and letting their actors improvise. There were rumors of Lord and Miller spending far too much money and time on multiple shots of the same scenes, so Disney brought in Ron Howard. Now, I don't know exactly how to explain this, but Ron Howard makes Hollywood movies. He's the guy I would call if I needed to fix a similar situation. Look up his filmography, you'll know what I mean. The guy just makes classic Hollywood pictures. Anyways, after the movie came out, it was clear that the script for Solo was nothing special, and maybe they should have actually let Lord and Miller just do their thing. However, with everything in perspective, Solo: A Star Wars Story is clearly one of the weaker movies. And that leads us to Trevorrow, Episode 9, replaced by J.J. Abrams. Trevorrow mostly being known for the Jurassic World series. So Colin Trevorrow was set to direct the final film in the Skywalker saga, but was let go in 2017. There's actually a leaked script titled Duel of the Fates from Trevorrow and his writing partner Derek Connolly, and apparently the script is legit and fairly good. I'll definitely read it in full later on. Many of the details in the script match early concept art from Episode 9, boosting its credibility. Here's a few bits of the story that I've gathered from the script. Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost is haunting Kylo Ren. We also get to see a rundown, damn near apocalyptic looking Coruscant. And our boy Finn is leading a stormtrooper rebellion. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty cool to me. And then, writer-director Rian Johnson of Knives Out and Looper was set to have his own Star Wars trilogy. It was, however, shelved indefinitely immediately after the release of The Last Jedi. Now, the delay for Rian Johnson's trilogy could be from negative fan backlash, or it simply could be because he's busy. Rian Johnson did get funding for his passion project Knives Out immediately after doing his Star Wars movie. I imagine Johnson will return to the universe after one or two more Matt LeBlanc stories. This statement might get backlash and upset some fans, but overall, I like The Last Jedi quite a bit. Now we're in 2017, and Stephen Daldry of Billy Elliot and The Crown was announced to make the ObiWan Kenobi movie, which ended up being reworked for Disney+. In 2017, the team of Amini, McGregor, and Daldry was assembled to begin production on the Kenobi movie, and then it was cancelled. This was the clear fan favorite project at the time. The originally intended Star Wars Kenobi movie seems to be cancelled directly due to Solo: A Star Wars Story being a failure. And you can tell Disney and Lucasfilm were headed into the Kenobi movie due to Darth Maul showing up at the end of Solo. Fast forward a few years to 2019's D23 convention, the Kenobi series was officially announced killing the movie. So Disney picked up Deborah Chow and got the ball rolling on production. But of course, Lucasfilm was dissatisfied with the script, so there was a small production delay while they go get new writers. And then they got the ball rolling. But then Deborah Chow's vision was completely overhauled as executive producers Filoni and Favreau had Chow switch from Maul to Vader. And then they really got the ball rolling. I thought Kenobi was cool, had some weak spots, but it was decent. In 2018, it was announced that director James Mangold of Logan and Ford v Ferrari had Boba Fett, and now it's cancelled. And boy, I needed this one. This director and this character are a perfect match. It was apparently as close to rated R as they could get. James Mangold was set to co-write the Boba Fett movie with Simon Kinberg, who's mostly known for working on Fox's X-Men movies. On the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, Mangold stated, "I was making much more of a borderline rated R single planet spaghetti western. They probably would never be able to embrace Baby Yoda if I had made that. It didn't really belong in the world I was kind of envisioning." Mangold also says, "In a moment of corporate realignment or whatever happened with the Han Solo movie, they just suddenly decided they weren't making pictures like that, and the opportunity in streaming presented themselves. So yeah, Solo destroyed a lot of plans." Now, James Mangold does have a pre-Jedi film in the works taking place long before the Skywalker saga, so hopefully they pull that off without any problems. And now we have Benioff and Weiss of Game of Thrones, prequel trilogy shelved in 2022. So there's a few reasons for their exit. One reason being the toxic fandom, and the other reason being a $200 million Netflix deal. So personally, I've never watched Game of Thrones, but from my understanding, the writing went downhill after their show passed the source material. At least that's what I've heard. We have a quote from Kathleen Kennedy. "David Benioff and Dan Weiss are incredible storytellers. We hope to include them in the journey forward when they are able to step away from their busy schedule to focus on Star Wars." After that, we have director Patty Jenkins of Wonder Woman and Monster, who was set to make Rogue Squadron, which was quickly shelved indefinitely. Announced in 2020, set to be released December 22nd, 2023. But was ultimately pulled from the release schedule September 2022 and is no longer in active development. This cancellation was only odd because Disney made a whole promo video for its Investor Day announcement. Wow, there is a lot of these. We're almost done though. Director J.D. Dillard of Devotion and Sweetheart had an untitled film which is now cancelled. Dillard stated the video game TIE Fighter as a major influence. J.D. Dillard has stated that it was unfortunately no longer a thing, though it was not for lack of trying. He then said he still had interest in a space film, but now it would be an original idea. Next up, writer-producer Damon Lindelof of Lost and 2019's Watchmen, set to make untitled post-Episode 9 film, who has been replaced by Stephen Knight of Peaky Blinders and Locke. Lindelof actually stated that it was requested he leave Star Wars. Here's some of the details we know about his would-have-been movie. Lindelof's story would have taken place 15 years after Episode 9 and included an older Rey training Jedi Knights, one that would have been played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Apparently, Lucasfilm wanted the movie to focus on Rey a bit more than Lindelof intended. The split seems amicable. Lindelof told Esquire, "The movie is still happening, but unfortunately not with me. I wish them all the best of luck. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is an incredible director, and I can't wait to see what she comes up with." This was a pretty quick turnaround, as Lindelof only joined the film in March 2022. Now keep in mind, these are only the movies that were officially announced. This isn't even getting into things like Guillermo del Toro's Jabba the Hutt, Godfather style movie, which I personally would have loved to see. Side note, I really love Guillermo del Toro. I might just make a video all about his artistry. And I can't believe they shelved Kevin Feige's Star Wars, the man that built modern Marvel. Maybe with Dave Filoni, Lucasfilm feels like they don't need Kevin Feige anymore. That's actually fair. I would very much like to still see Kevin Feige's movie though. So let's hope Taika Waititi's Star Wars project doesn't have any production issues. I think it's pretty clear Disney and Lucasfilm had no idea what they were doing when this deal went down. Production issues are normal for studios. What's not normal is us, the general audience, being aware of all this. Some stuff just needs to be handled behind closed doors. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.